Jay's definitely.
Jay helped you?
Yeah.
How did he
As a
help you?
competitor.
Explain it.
Yeah, because he never was someone that you communicate with that you're like friends with the person. But I always respected him because he was never an actual competitor in actual fact. He was someone who was a competitor through perception.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up.
How close was Diddy and Jay-Z? They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z.
And B was, one time she jumped off of the ledge, came running over because she thought me and Jay had issues, and I was like, what the? And I was like, did she really just jump down and run over here like that?
Beyonce jumped off a ledge.
Yeah, what happened? It was in the Cosmopolitan, huh?
She really a superhero.
She jumped down and no, she was like, this what? Like that Bonnie and Clyde for real? You try this or what, boy? I'm here.
Word.
She down like at me. She like, I said,
Was Solange with her? She...
A new wave of controversy is beginning to build, pulling together old rumors, recent headlines, and stories that many people thought had faded away. At the heart of the discussion is 50 Cent, an artist who has never been shy about confronting what he believes is hidden power within the entertainment industry. For years, he's built a reputation for calling out figures others hesitate to question. But now, the scope of the conversation appears to be expanding. In his latest comments, 50 suggested that the situation is no longer about just one powerful figure. Instead, he hinted that the spotlight could soon shift toward some of the biggest and most influential names in global pop culture. Among the figures mentioned in growing speculation are Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Oprah Winfrey, icons whose names have circulated in rumors and online discussions for years, yet are rarely addressed so directly. The tension surrounding the topic grew stronger after 50 Cent hinted that he may be sitting on new, unreleased material connected to the same powerful circles that have recently been under public scrutiny. He suggested that the documentary project he recently released was only the beginning, implying that more revelations could follow. For many observers, it sounded less like a finished story and more like the opening chapter of something much bigger. Then came the short statement that instantly sent social media into overdrive: "You're next." The message was brief, but its impact was immediate. Fans and commentators quickly began speculating about who the remark was aimed at. Many online users pointed toward Jay-Z and Beyoncé, questioning whether the timing of the statement carried a deeper meaning. Given the long history of connections, collaborations, and shared influence among elite figures in entertainment, the speculation spread rapidly across platforms. As the conversation reignited, people began revisiting the complex web of relationships that has linked many of these personalities over the years. Business ventures, industry partnerships, private gatherings, and overlapping networks of influence have all contributed to the perception of a tightly connected inner circle operating at the highest levels of entertainment and media. That renewed curiosity has fueled a broader debate. Some believe that long-standing alliances within these powerful circles may finally be facing deeper public scrutiny. Others argue that speculation often grows larger than the facts themselves. Still, with archived interviews, past footage, and unanswered questions resurfacing online, the discussion continues to gain momentum. Whether this moment leads to real revelations or simply another wave of internet speculation remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the conversation around power, influence, and accountability in the entertainment world is far from over, and the attention surrounding these iconic figures is only getting stronger.
These were private conversations, and that he and Diddy could talk openly, and Mark could talk to Diddy not just as a client, but as a person, and tried to guide him in a time leading up to his arrest. And unbeknownst to Mark Agnifilo, Diddy has got this guy recording the conversation as he's sitting there saying, "You are screwing this up. You are messing up this case. We're losing." And knowing that that's on tape, and it's almost like he's performing for the camera and not telling Mark what's going on. And the really enraging part about it is that Mark Agnifilo won this case for Diddy with legal strategy. It wasn't just an accident that this jury that had heard all of this in the news before the trial voted not guilty on all the serious charges. It was Mark Agnifilo that did that. Yet Diddy secretly records this guy and embarrasses him. And yeah, you could say, well, Diddy never expected that it would end up being broadcast somewhere else. Well, okay, but Diddy was planning on using it, or he wouldn't have had it recorded in the first place. So it's just really, really unfair. And I know that in a way this sounds crazy, that I'm getting so upset about Diddy, and yet there's video of Diddy beating Cassie. Well, that's horrendous. But that doesn't mean you can't look at something else as well. And I just think, as a lawyer, I just think this is just so outrageous that he would do something like this, and not even understanding what Agnifilo's legal theory was. Because I will tell you that when we did our first documentary on Diddy, which was 8 months before the trial, Mark Agnifilo said to me on camera that he is going to tell this jury that this was a successful black man that prosecutors were trying to take down because they couldn't get into his bank accounts because they were clean, and he couldn't deal with they couldn't deal with taxes because he wasn't committing tax fraud. So they go into his bedroom. And that's what Mark Agnifilo said 8 months before. And he goes into the trial and he essentially wins that argument, whether you believe it or not. A jury that sat through the whole thing, they believed it, and ultimately they convicted him on this BS Mann Act thing. So Diddy won that case. And one of the reasons he won the case is something that Agnifilo got criticized for. That when he did the documentary with me, he was making a joke about the baby oil. Remember, he said, oh, well, I didn't know he bought in bulk. He must have bought 1,000 bottles at Costco. And a lot of people just slammed him for that and said, how dare you? You're being disrespectful. The baby oil is the smoking gun in this case. Agnifilo knew all along that the baby oil was Diddy's best defense. Because when Agnifilo got before that jury in closing arguments, he looked at them and he said, well, the feds came in with their armor and artillery and guns. And what did they do? They got 1,000 bottles of baby oil off the streets. Ooh, he said, the streets are safer now. And the jury laughed. And that laugh told Agnifilo he should keep going on that. And that the trial itself was absurd because
online discussions quickly revived older moments when 50 Cent openly accused powerful figures in entertainment of quietly protecting each other. In particular, fans pointed back to times he suggested that Jay-Z had played a role in shielding influential circles from outside scrutiny. For years, 50 has pushed the idea that behind the glamour of the industry exists a tight network where major players look out for one another when problems arise. This latest situation feels different to many observers, largely because 50 has already demonstrated that he's willing to bring private matters into the spotlight. His recently released documentary attracted worldwide attention and showed that he's prepared to turn industry controversies into public conversations. Because of that track record, when he delivered the blunt message, "You're next," people didn't treat it like a casual remark. To understand why those words landed so heavily, it helps to revisit the long history between him and Jay-Z. Their dynamic goes all the way back to the early 2000s, a time when competition and tension between artists often spilled into public view. From subtle lyrical shots to industry rivalries, the relationship between the two was rarely smooth. Even when the clashes weren't direct, the friction was always noticeable. Over time, their paths through the business world began to look very different. Jay-Z gradually shifted away from open conflict and positioned himself as a quiet architect of influence, expanding his reach through major business ventures, partnerships, and connections within elite circles. His approach has often been described as calculated and controlled, building power behind the scenes. 50 Cent, on the other hand, developed a reputation for doing the opposite. Rather than staying silent, he leaned into confrontation, using interviews, media projects, and social commentary to challenge people he believed held too much unchecked authority. Alongside his music career, he built a business empire through television production, investments, and bold public statements that frequently stirred headlines. In many ways, the two represent completely different approaches to influence. One relies on quiet strategy and carefully maintained relationships. The other thrives on pressure, transparency, and public challenge. That stark contrast is exactly why moments like this capture so much attention. When 50 Cent decides to speak out, people know it rarely happens without intention. And because of that reputation, both the entertainment industry and the wider public tend to pause and listen whenever his voice enters the conversation.
It seems like 50 Cent has set his sights on someone new after the Diddy Netflix documentary. If you aren't aware, 50 Cent has been getting insane feedback from the Netflix documentary he made on Diddy. Sean Combs' The Reckoning is what it's called, and it's #1 all over Netflix, beating even Stranger Things. Diddy himself has responded to it, saying the stories are false, of course, denying everything, and even trying to do a cease and desist on the Netflix documentary. And after this Diddy documentary, a lot of people have been wondering who's the next person that deserves to get exposed. And Jay-Z is the one that a lot of people are pointing their finger at. And the reason why Jay-Z has been getting a lot of this type of backlash is because Jay-Z was really close to Diddy. At one point, Diddy was even calling him his brother, and that Jay-Z's the only one that can call him his real name, Sean. That maybe there's something on Jay-Z's side that has been going on behind the scenes. Now, there hasn't been any solid proof yet, but Nicki Minaj has been going at Jay-Z for quite some time, talking about Jay-Z is manipulative and he steals, and he's been pushing a narrative, and that Roc Nation has control and power over a lot of things. And I can kind of understand where she's coming from to a certain extent. We got to remember when Jay-Z went up on the Grammy stage and said Beyonce never won Album of the Year and complained about that. Literally the following year, Beyonce wins Album of the Year, which is just something like, if that doesn't show you that there is some power going on there, that there is something behind the scenes that Jay-Z controls, it's clear as day that it's all politics on who wins Grammys, who gets the better light and things. So that kind of opened my eyes, as to Roc Nation's power and how they manipulate things in the media. I'll never forget Jay-Z would get this like special treatment all the time when it comes to the media. I mean, Hot 97, when they interviewed Jay-Z, they literally rolled out a red carpet. They never did that for any other artist. So Jay-Z's always had this kind of special treatment when it came to things. But now the question is Jay-Z involved in crazier things? I mean, there's been a lot of speculation in a lot of different ways, and people are pointing their attention towards 50 Cent wanting him to do a Jay-Z documentary. And it looks like he might actually do it, because on Instagram, he posted a drawing of Jay-Z that kind of makes fun of his looks. And he posted that photo and he said this in the caption: "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." Basically making a joke, because obviously he posted it on his social media. But, and here's the interesting but in this, is someone commented on the post, and the comment got liked by 50 Cent. And this is the comment. It's from Dom KMDA. I hope I pronounced that right. Dom Kanmada. He commented saying, "My only question, he's next, isn't he?" And 50 ended up liking that comment. And here's the thing. I actually saw this on Twitter and X, whatever, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to confirm, is this real? Because a lot of people Photoshop these type of things just to create drama and create this speculation. So I actually DM'd the guy himself, and I showed him the photo, and I asked him, "Hey, is this a real photo? Did 50 like your comment?" He said, "Hey, yes, he did." And I was like, perfect. Thank you for confirming. Thought it was Photoshopped. I will appreciate the response. And he said, "I was surprised as well. Didn't see that coming." So shout out to him, for, responding to my DM and confirming that, the comment actually got liked by 50, because, a lot of people Photoshop and spread narratives. So me being the proper journalist, or whatever you want to call me, news reporter, I, wanted to go get to the source and see if it was actually real. There's also something that's very interesting that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's the documentary coming out on December 2nd. That Diddy documentary coming out on that date, literally 2 days later, you have Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, which to me sends a subliminal message to Jay-Z that you're next. So that's crazy. That just, to me, shows that 50 is potentially going to work on something going at Jay-Z, and he might get Nicki Minaj involved, because Nicki Minaj has a huge issue with Jay-Z with a lot of things, and I don't even know the full details of that, because she's gone at Jay-Z for.
Over the years, Jay-Z steadily strengthened his position among some of the most powerful circles in entertainment, business, and media. His influence grew through partnerships, investments, and relationships with major decision-makers across multiple industries. Meanwhile, whenever 50 Cent believed something in that world was being quietly pushed out of sight, he usually responded in his own signature style, through sarcasm, cryptic social media posts, or pointed commentary that hinted at deeper issues without fully spelling them out. But until recently, he had never delivered a warning as direct as the one that's now circulating online. What makes this moment stand out is the suggestion that 50 may be holding information that could place the Carter family directly under the spotlight. Fans who follow his history know he rarely throws around accusations casually. In the past, when he hinted that he had proof or inside details, something eventually surfaced to back up his claims. That pattern alone was enough to send the internet into a frenzy once his latest remarks started spreading. Before long, the conversation pulled Jay-Z and Beyoncé into the center of a growing online debate. Then the discussion expanded even further, with another unexpected name beginning to appear in the same threads: Oprah Winfrey. For many people watching the situation unfold, that raised a big question. How did she become part of the narrative? The connection largely comes from renewed criticism directed at Oprah and the complicated history between her and 50 Cent. Over the years, he has expressed skepticism about how she chooses to use her massive platform and influence. According to him, the pressure she applies in certain public conversations hasn't always been evenly distributed. He has also pointed to moments when her investigative focus seemed selective, comparing the subjects she chose to spotlight with individuals she had previously associated with. On several occasions, he's questioned why some figures received intense scrutiny while others appeared to avoid it entirely. Another layer to that tension stems from 50's own experience with her platform. In the past, he openly voiced frustration about being excluded from her show during key moments in his career, believing that certain narratives about him were amplified while his perspective was largely ignored. All of that history now adds new context to why Oprah's name is once again appearing alongside some of the most powerful figures in entertainment. As online discussions grow louder and old clips, interviews, and statements resurface, the broader conversation about influence, media power, and accountability inside the industry continues to expand.
Weinstein, Oprah, Epstein, he was running with that whole crew. They want to know how we're going to do it, how the public is going to take him. Is the public going to let him back in? And the public is not. The public is already canceling him. I don't believe the industry has canceled him yet. All those people who went to those Diddy parties, not one of them had came out and denounced what he has done. I haven't heard one of them. I have not heard one person denounce, well, man, let God handle it. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here with that. If that was your daughter, would you let God handle it? All those people, they ain't denounced him. They ain't definitely, they can't come forward and say, yo, I support him. Cause it would mess up their brand. It would mess up their brand. Jay-Z. We the only one could call each other Sean. Jay is the only one could call me Sean. I'm the only one could call him Sean. Get the hell out of here. If that ain't no fun boy stuff. But you ain't had not one person, brother, not one person sit there and denounce what he did.
But the discussion doesn't stop there. In fact, the story grows more complex as older criticisms involving Oprah Winfrey have started resurfacing during this renewed industry debate. Over the years, several well-known Black entertainers have spoken publicly about uncomfortable experiences they claim occurred during major interviews or business interactions connected to powerful media platforms. Some described feeling misunderstood, misrepresented, or placed in situations where their stories were framed in ways they didn't fully agree with. Those concerns have periodically resurfaced in conversations about influence and media power. 50 Cent has often voiced support for many of those artists, backing their perspectives and suggesting that certain narratives within entertainment media can sometimes be shaped in ways that benefit specific agendas. His comments have repeatedly highlighted what he believes is an imbalance in how stories are told and who gets the opportunity to control the narrative. At the same time, past controversies tied to Oprah's international philanthropic initiatives have also been brought back into public discussion. Although investigations and clarifications over the years addressed many of the issues raised at the time, the situations left lingering questions that occasionally reappear whenever conversations about media authority and accountability take center stage. Alongside these discussions, a wave of more extreme online theories has circulated across social media. Most of those claims have widely been dismissed due to a lack of credible evidence, but their presence still contributes to the broader atmosphere of speculation that surrounds powerful figures in the entertainment world. What keeps the conversation active right now is the fact that 50 Cent has already demonstrated he's willing to challenge high-profile individuals publicly. His recent documentary brought private industry matters into global view, proving that he isn't afraid to use media projects to spotlight controversies. Because of that, fans have begun speculating that other influential figures could eventually find themselves under a similar spotlight, especially after 50 hinted that future revelations might involve people few would expect. In the entertainment industry, influence rarely operates in isolation. Careers, partnerships, and reputations often overlap through years of shared events, interviews, philanthropic efforts, and public collaborations. The professional journeys of Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Diddy have intersected many times in these spaces, reinforcing the perception that powerful networks at the top of the industry are closely connected. Now, as archived footage resurfaces and past conversations gain new attention, those connections are being examined more closely than ever before. Whether that scrutiny leads to meaningful revelations or simply fuels ongoing debate remains to be seen, but the spotlight on these influential circles continues to grow.
Beyonce didn't want to speak and does not speak to Brandy. And the truth of the matter is that she go back there with Monica and Kelly and there go Patti LaBelle and then there goes Solange. All right. And there's a reason why Solange is around as well, because if you guys don't know, for a while, Solange and Beyonce actually were not on speaking terms, but they're back talking now. They're back cool. And basically Solange is around to keep Beyonce spiritually protected. Solange is the spiritual protector of that family. Don't get it twisted. Mama Tina is powerful. Solange is the most powerful list. You better ask some damn body. All right. Now, the reason why Beyonce ain't came to speak to Brandy, baby, is because Beyonce does not talk to anyone who used to sleep with Jay-Z. Okay. Whether you guys know it or not, and I have to say allegedly, right? Jay-Z and Brandy used to talk back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean like late 90s type stuff, right? Brandy always kept Jay-Z on the low back in the day because, quite honestly, he was too ugly to be out in public with. I'm just keeping it real. To claim him publicly, he was too ugly back in the day. Now, when you try to search up pictures of Jay-Z and Brandy, you will find... Hold up, let me see. Hold up. Let me see, because I thought I had a picture of them two. Brandy and Jay-Z. Now this would have been from, let's see, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Brandy and Jay-Z. Okay, there we go. Now this picture of them was in 2002. All right. And this was, I think was at one of her album release parties, if I'm not mistaken. This was a year after Moesha Rap, because Moesha went off air in 2001. Yes, he was dealing with Beyonce at the time as well. And, Blue Cantrell, let me tell you, Jay-Z was laying it low and spreading it wide. Jay-Z was one of those dudes in the industry that, you know, you messed around with, he piped you down, but before he was really him, you did not claim him publicly because he was just simply too ugly. It was what it was. But Jay-Z was in love with Brandy then. He's not in love with her now, but he still has love and feelings towards her. He's one of those people that feels like once he done had you and once he done loved you, he always feels like he has like possession over you. Jay-Z is one of those kind of men, baby. I don't know if they told you. Jay-Z is extremely, extremely, extremely jealous, extremely, extremely controlling, and extremely, extremely possessive. That's another reason why. Hold up. Where the picture go? Wait a minute. Where the picture go? That's another reason why Beyonce up here. Wait. Anyway, y'all get the point. That's another reason why Beyonce, over the years, a lot of the music that she's made, it's always been with him. A lot of the remixes, it's always been with him or somebody that he approves of her to work with. Okay. Jay-Z was so damn controlling. He didn't even want her father, talking about Matthew Knowles now, he didn't want her father managing her anymore. And he stepped in. And if y'all notice, when Jay-Z stepped in as Beyonce's manager, the music changed, everything changed, and the money started to get effed up. But that's another story for another day. We're not getting on that right now. We sticking with Brandy and Jay-Z right now. So they started messing around on the low in the 90s. Even to the early 2000s, they were still messing around. I'm not exactly sure which year the relationship officially ended, but just know that Jay-Z was just basically good for, that was what he gave. He gave big, I don't know no other way to put it, but he was like, for the ladies that's watching, you know, like, if you ever dealt with like a tall, ugly with big pipe, you went to him to get piped down, but you would not like ever like claim him like that because he was just super ugly. It was what it was. And before he really blew up, didn't nobody want to be seen with him like that. It is what it is. And quite frankly, Jay-Z dated a lot of your favorite female stars from back in the day, but they would not.
Another piece of the puzzle comes from the long professional history between Diddy and Jay-Z. For decades, the two moved through similar lanes, working on music projects, appearing together at major industry celebrations, and frequenting the same high-end social circles that define the upper level of entertainment culture. Because of that shared history, many observers have long believed that influence at the very top of the industry flows through tightly connected networks where access, opportunity, and information are quietly exchanged behind the scenes. That idea is exactly what 50 Cent claims is now being tested. According to his perspective, these interconnected relationships may be facing pressure as public attention grows around certain powerful figures. The conversation intensified further after comments from Ray J began circulating online. In a recent discussion, he suggested that some well-known personalities who once stood close to Diddy were becoming increasingly nervous about what information might surface next. He hinted that certain figures were starting to create distance privately, even if that shift wasn't yet visible in public. Those remarks quickly sparked another wave of speculation across social media. As people began connecting past relationships and public appearances, familiar names repeatedly surfaced in the debate. Jay-Z and Beyonce are often mentioned within those conversations, not as individuals accused of wrongdoing, but because of their long presence within the same influential spaces. Over the years, they have shared stages, events, and industry platforms with many of the same high-profile figures. From award ceremonies and exclusive parties to business ventures and philanthropic gatherings, their careers have frequently intersected with the same powerful networks that dominate Hollywood and the global music industry. Their visibility in those environments naturally keeps them part of the wider discussion. In an industry where relationships and influence often overlap, the actions of one major figure can quickly place attention on the entire circle around them. That's why moments of heightened scrutiny rarely stay focused on a single person. When pressure begins building in one corner of the entertainment elite, the ripple effect tends to spread outward, pulling every connected name into the broader conversation.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. Mm-hmm. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies. Trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
You're gonna let him say that. Jay was getting Grammys.
He had one.
Exactly.
He had one.
And he ain't show up.
He had like 20 now.
Hold on.
He had like 18 since he been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
You're not wrong.
He was one. He got some shit. He started drinking. His pictures with him. He thinks the cup.
Wait a minute. So you're saying the success is derived from the marriage?
I've absolutely been treated differently.
The accolades.
Because he's no longer viewed as what, like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position Beyonce's.
Oh, wow.
Right? You were connected to the biggest.
Jay got it for the music. Jay got it for the music.
You didn't sing.
He deserved those.
Don't sit there. It's like this, like Black Excellence. They're sitting there like, yeah. It's a billionaire brunch. Like,
I hate you, man.
Unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm going to be with you this year. Yeah. Come on, bro.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
He just looking at his watch during the whole Rock Nation, bro. Like, is it 3:30?
Yeah, it's almost time to get out. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Oh wow! So that's the deal he signed, huh?
Yeah, that's the deal. Like the other ones didn't count as much as that one did.
Oh, yeah, before I forget this, we talked about Jay. Proximity to Diddy. You don't think he knew anything? He's seemingly around Diddy a lot.
No, that was a real suburb question.
I know, right? Proximity.
Hold on. Proximity.
Proximity. That's the SAT hit parade word. I had to learn that.
Do you think he knew all of the shit that was going on? Then I was like I
don't want to incriminate myself.
I know, but the way he said it,
like I said,
no matter how you answer that, you snitching.
That was a narcissist kind of question.
You asked the question like a fan.
Hey, I grew up with white people, but one thing I know is how to get a black guy in trouble.
But it's a great question.
Yo, just give him the Happy Meal before you ask him to snitch, bro.
He said, damn, they wasn't even drinking.
Speaking of, how the hell you pronounce
Lechimindewa.
Okay.
It's the King's Path.
King's Path.
Because I know Branson. That's the one I pronounce.
That's the Branson lifestyle. You know, be outside.
Biff, you're not worried that if you throw little and you don't throw out allegations, but like you kind of poke fun at them.
You just ask questions.
You're not worried that it comes back your way? Like people dig up your past and try to pull stuff up?
I don't got that in my past. I'm not.
Everybody got a little bit.
Look, I took
enough.
I took a pill, but it was for me to perform better. Or to remember, buddy.
That's exactly why 50 Cent's latest warning is being taken so seriously. To many observers, it doesn't sound like random speculation. It feels tied to years of visible relationships, shared environments, and moments where controversy, silence, and carefully protected reputations all seem to overlap within the same powerful circles. From 50's perspective, the era when Hollywood's most influential networks operated without challenge may be fading. He has repeatedly suggested that those long-protected systems are no longer beyond criticism, and he appears determined to confront them directly rather than quietly step aside. The ripple effect from his recent documentary reached far beyond a single individual. Its release sparked conversations across the industry, drawing attention to anyone who had once occupied the same rooms, business deals, or private settings connected to that circle. Artists, executives, and public figures, even those outside the music world, suddenly found themselves mentioned in discussions as audiences began re-examining old footage, photos, and past collaborations. Once 50 hinted that additional projects might already be in development, the reaction across the industry was swift. Reports began circulating about legal advisors reviewing past situations, public relations teams adjusting strategies, and certain appearances or events being quietly postponed. In some cases, people even noticed social media posts and older content disappearing from public view. None of those actions confirm wrongdoing. But for many watching from the outside, the sudden caution and distance only added to the sense of intrigue surrounding the situation. The documentary itself painted a picture of patterns that some viewers now claim they had quietly noticed for years but never fully questioned. Moments that once seemed insignificant are being revisited with fresh scrutiny, and the broader conversation about accountability within powerful networks continues to grow louder. And as that discussion expands, one lingering question keeps resurfacing. If warning signs truly existed in the past, who recognized them and who chose to look the other way?
The 50 Cent Diddy doc. First and foremost, we've been talking about this thing, Jack, for going on 2 years now. And once again, thank you for even being, I guess you could say, a beacon during this whole conversation as far as kind of spreading light on a lot of things that go down in the industry that, you know, the normal person may not even see or hear about that happens in the day-to-day. did you really think 50 Cent, when he first mentioned it, that there was an actual documentary being worked on?
Well, see, this is the thing. I can believe that it was happening. At what purpose? See, and that's the thing. Like, my opinion about all of this stuff is so much different than your average person's, and my outlook is so much different than your average person's. Did I believe that it was possible? Absolutely. Why wouldn't he be able to do a documentary? Why wouldn't he be able to bring in Alexandria to come and put this together? Like, the woman who directed this, she doesn't even seem to have a background in hip hop at all.
That makes sense.
So it's like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. I mean, for crying out loud, Diddy sent him freak off videos.
True. Very true.
Interviews
Very true.
about it.
Did you feel that just 50 Cent's name being attached to it again? These are two, as everyone knows, the three names in hip hop are Jay-Z, Diddy, 50 Cent when it comes to the status of where you could get as a business or a brand.
I guess
so. So for the top three individuals, for one to go at the other and release this doc, I don't know, what does that say to again, I keep asking about the hip hop state of things. What does that say to hip hop? Like, are we our own downfall? I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It all depends on what you consider hip hop. Like, I don't consider any of this debauchery, any of this animalistic crap. I don't consider any of this hip hop. I grew up in hip hop. You know, I know what hip hop culture is, and it's none of this stuff that people are selling.
I mean, when did it stop being hip hop? We're gonna go through the documentary itself, but when did it stop?
It stopped being hip hop when it became corporatized. It stopped being hip hop when certain groups of people saw that they could use it to influence the mass public. When people saw how influential hip hop was, it became very clear. Once upon a time, not long ago, where people wore pajamas and lived life, you know, the laws were stern and justice stood, and people were behaving like they ought to good. There lived a little boy, and he was misled by another little boy, and this is what he said: "Me and you, kid, we go make some cash, robbing old folks and making the dash."
Come on.
Like, they did the job and money came with ease, but one couldn't stop us like he had a disease. He robbed another and another and a sister and a brother. Tried to rob a man who was a detective undercover.
Jay-Z has often been spotted at exclusive industry gatherings. Beyoncé has taken part in events connected to some of the most influential circles in entertainment. Oprah, at different points, has publicly supported or praised individuals who are now facing renewed scrutiny. None of those facts suggest direct involvement in any controversy, but they do place their names within the same broader conversations. And in today's online world, that alone is enough to spark intense public attention. That's why 50 Cent's warning is being taken seriously by many observers. When he hinted that the situation unfolding now might only be the beginning, and that additional names could eventually enter the spotlight, people immediately connected the comment to the larger web of relationships surrounding the industry's most powerful figures. After all, he has already challenged one of hip-hop's most influential personalities through a widely discussed documentary project. A common question now circulating online is simple. Why is 50 Cent the one driving this moment? For many, the explanation lies in how he built his career. Unlike some major figures who rely heavily on relationships, approvals and long-standing alliances within the entertainment ecosystem, 50 has spent years positioning himself outside of that dependency. His success has expanded far beyond music into television production, media ownership and multiple independent business ventures. Meanwhile, figures such as Jay-Z, Diddy, Oprah, and Beyoncé have grown their influence through carefully cultivated partnerships, brand empires and tightly managed public images. Their power often operates within structured networks that reward discretion and stability. 50's model is very different. Because he owns many of his platforms and projects outright, he has the freedom to speak openly about issues others might only discuss privately. That independence allows him to challenge people who are widely considered untouchable, and to release media projects that can shake conversations across an industry where silence has often been the safer option. Another reason audiences pay attention when he speaks is his reputation for backing statements with receipts. Throughout his career, he has frequently pointed to documents, archived footage, or verifiable records when making claims, which has helped him maintain credibility with his supporters. In an environment where quiet cooperation often keeps the system running smoothly, someone willing to speak loudly and provide proof when necessary naturally becomes a disruptive force. That's why when 50 Cent suggested that even the most powerful figures should remain alert as this story continues to unfold, many people took the warning seriously without hesitation.
In front of a bunch of people in the studio, me and him got into it that night. And we started snapping and joking and talking to each other. When he said about Danny Kane, he said, they gonna keep on messing with me. He said the word effing with me. They gonna keep on effing with me, and I'm gonna when you hear people saying this, this is crazy. This is so crazy right now, because I heard him say it. But to know that he was doing it, it's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother light right now, bro. He said it. I'ma drug them out and pimp them out to my they keep with me. And he was talking about Danny Kane as a group. He didn't single out any one of them. But to hear that he did it, that's just crazy to me. We had a big argument and we started talking about each other and what had and what he didn't have. He was calling me, yo, you broke cop. This like, you ain't got nothing I ain't got. I got a watch, you got a watch. I got a ring, you got a ring, I got a chain, I got a home. We went through that whole like that. We start talking about his teeth. You understand? I start talking about, him, his breath, everything. We was going at each other. That next day at his house, he said, yo, Gene, he called me upstairs and he said, yo, Gene, I couldn't talk to him like that no more in front of people and everything like that. Cause I know me and Puff go back from the same gang since 89, 90 when he got jumped in it. You understand? We go back way to that time. So I knew him. You understand? He was like a little nephew. So when he started talking to him, I said, yo, listen here, bro. You don't say shit about me, I won't say shit about you. If you say something, you open up your mouth about me, I'm going to talk about all your green dentures and all that like that. We're not playing them games, bro. You said, all right, Gene, cool. You understand? People don't understand, bro. The love and the power I had, not only in Harlem, Queens, I had dudes all over New York City, from the Bronx, everybody that had mad love for me because I looked out. You understand? I made sure, that people needed knowledge and information on certain things. They had a lot of people that was on parole that was in the music business. I used to save guys by letting them know their rights and what the people could and couldn't do to them. So I had a lot of genuine love from a lot of dudes. You don't be around a K. Slay for over 20-something years, a Chaz Williams over 20-something years, and be some kind of sucker and was right next to him, doing all their functions, all their situations and everything like that, running security for them, making sure their people were safe in the whole 9 yards. You understand? I had my man Pete, I had people calling me, yo, look out for Nate Dogg when he come to New York. Look out for Mac 10, look out for Exhibit, doing stuff like that, Good Brothers and everything like that. So what I'm trying to say to you is that, bro, is that to be at that type of status and be that type of person and do the things that I did, you understand? I had to have people who were in that lifestyle.
At the moment, the question dominating the conversation is simple. What exactly is in the unreleased footage? So far, 50 Cent hasn't revealed details. But speculation online suggests the material may connect to the same exclusive Hollywood environments referenced in his recent documentary. Private gatherings, off-camera moments, closed-door business meetings, and conversations that were never intended for public view. most of the discussion isn't centered on the idea that figures like Jay-Z or Beyoncé are shown committing wrongdoing. Instead, many people believe the footage, if it exists, could highlight what certain influential individuals may have seen, heard, or been aware of within those elite circles. And in the arena of public opinion, awareness can carry just as much weight as direct action. That if new material were to surface suggesting that respected names recognized troubling patterns but chose to stay silent, the reaction from the public could be powerful. Calls for transparency and accountability in entertainment have grown louder in recent years, and audiences are increasingly willing to question long-protected reputations. Another possibility people are discussing is that the footage might reveal how closely guarded networks in Hollywood operated for years, how loyalty, influence, and discretion helped maintain the public images of powerful figures across multiple industries. That kind of exposure can sometimes create more unease than direct accusations. Once a broader picture becomes visible, alliances can weaken and carefully managed narratives can start to unravel. And that may explain why 50 appears so confident about what comes next. He seems to understand the timing of the moment, knows that public attention is already focused on the issue, and appears convinced that whatever he releases next could reshape how many people view power and influence inside Hollywood. 9.
Documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is ridiculous. And on top of that, the only place he agrees to do the interview, Rob, if you can show this, he goes and interviews with ABC. And there's an Instagram post he put up, Rob. I don't know if you have that or not. If you go on his Instagram account, he goes and does the interview about Diddy's documentary on ABC. And they say the reason why he did it on ABC, it's that one right there, Rob, the one you had it on, is because ABC News Station is one of only few stations they're allowed to watch in prison. With that smile. So he wants Diddy to know the world is watching you. And
the moment 50 Cent hinted that Jay-Z and Beyoncé should stay alert, social media exploded. Within minutes, the internet filled with sharply divided reactions. Some critics argued that he was going too far, accusing him of stirring unnecessary controversy. Others defended his comments, claiming he was simply saying out loud what many people in the industry have quietly suspected for years. As the debate spread, the conversation quickly grew beyond a single statement. It evolved into a much larger discussion about how influence works inside the entertainment world. Critics began pointing toward a small group of enormously powerful figures who they believe have dominated major decisions for decades. Names like Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Diddy, and Tyler Perry were repeatedly mentioned, not necessarily as wrongdoers, but as symbols of the elite circle that many believe sits at the very top of the industry. For some observers, 50 Cent stands out as one of the few figures with the independence, resources, and audience reach to openly challenge that system. Because he operates through his own media ventures and businesses, he's less dependent on the traditional networks that many entertainers rely on for access and opportunity. That perception is part of the reason older stories began resurfacing almost immediately. People started revisiting long-forgotten accounts and experiences that once circulated quietly in the background. Discussions appeared about exclusive gatherings where only a select few were invited, long-standing alliances that seemed impossible to break, and careers that allegedly slowed down after individuals raised uncomfortable questions. Others recalled stories from creatives who felt their contributions were undervalued or their voices ignored within major projects. Some claimed that when concerns were raised publicly, they were dismissed rather than seriously addressed. Individually, many of these accounts once seemed scattered and unrelated. But by drawing attention to them all at once, 50 Cent has helped connect those fragments into a much larger narrative. The result is a growing public conversation about influence, silence, and control within the entertainment industry. More people are beginning to question how power has actually operated behind the scenes, and whether the structures that shaped the industry for decades are finally being examined more closely than ever before.
Not only did he not pay the cameraman, he didn't even tell his own lawyers. Plus this latest from 50 Cent and Diddy's own mom. Boo, you gotta watch this one. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. As all of us around the world realize that the footage from the Netflix special, Diddy, The Reckoning, or The Reckoning, Sean Combs, that footage of Sean came out because he didn't pay the cameraman. Well, it gets even worse. It gets even worse. Backstabbed on camera, Netflix's Diddy documentary reveals mogul secretly taped his defense attorney during case meltdown. He did not tell Agnifilo. Now, I don't know how that works. Let's watch it, because in this moment, you can kind of see.
Many observers say the timing of all this couldn't be more precise. The recent case that sparked much of the discussion is still developing, public attention remains fully focused, and people who once felt ignored are beginning to speak out. At the same time, media outlets that once avoided certain topics are now asking tougher questions about figures who were previously seen as untouchable. For someone like 50 Cent, that moment creates a rare window to step forward. At this stage, the central debate isn't necessarily about whether Jay-Z or Beyoncé personally did anything wrong. Instead, the focus has shifted toward their position within a much larger system of influence. People are increasingly interested in understanding how that system operates, and who may have been aware of the dynamics inside it. That curiosity is exactly why 50's statements are drawing so much attention. When he suggests he may have footage or evidence connected to powerful industry spaces, audiences tend to listen carefully. His words have effectively pushed the conversation into a new phase, summed up by the short message that quickly spread across the internet: "You're next." Even though he never directly named anyone in that remark, many fans immediately linked it to well-known figures like Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Oprah. Their names surfaced repeatedly in online discussions because of their long presence within the same influential circles, spaces defined by shared business relationships, high-level decision-making, and decades of cultural impact. Now, with reports that 50 may possess additional material, speculation continues to build. Supporters believe he may be preparing to reveal another layer of how influence operates behind the scenes in entertainment. Critics, on the other hand, question whether those claims will lead to anything concrete. Either way, the situation has already shifted the tone of the conversation. In an industry where staying silent is often considered the safest option, stepping forward with potential revelations is a rare and risky move. 50 Cent has already shaken the system once with his previous project. By hinting that more could be coming, he's signaling that the story might not be over yet. And whether the next chapter focuses on awareness, silence, or the hidden mechanics of powerful networks, one thing is clear: the spotlight on the entertainment world is brighter than ever, and the pressure surrounding it continues to rise.
Footage included in a documentary produced by 50 Cent shows Combs capturing confidential exchanges with his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, who, according to those familiar with the situation, had no idea he was being filmed or recorded. Revelation has ignited a firestorm within the legal community and raised questions about Combs' conduct during one of the most sensitive periods of his legal battle. Is anyone surprised, though? Come on. Netflix documentary featured material shot by the videographer Diddy hired to chronicle his life during what he described as a turbulent time. In the clips, Combs appeared frustrated and angry with Agnifilo and the entire defense team as they discussed his impending arrest. He is heard accusing his lawyers of losing control of the case and mishandling key aspects of his legal defense. Well, I mean, you're guilty on a lot of it, so it was kind of hard for them. They did, I would say, damn good job given the circumstances. Sources close to Agnifilo say he was unaware Diddy had commissioned someone to record the phone calls, much less their private strategy sessions. The inclusion of this footage in a publicly released documentary now places Agnifilo in an uncomfortable and unprecedented position, with conversations that have remained protected suddenly broadcast.
Many viewers are now wondering whether this moment could shift how the public sees some of the most powerful figures in entertainment. For some, the possibility of another documentary raises big questions. Could it affect careers, damage reputations, or even strain long-standing alliances that have defined the industry for decades? Others believe it might finally shed light on mysteries that have lingered for years, bringing answers where there has only been speculation. Whatever the outcome, one thing seems clear to those following the story closely: 50 Cent isn't finished yet. His message didn't feel like a joke or a passing remark. To many, it sounded like a clear signal that he intends to keep pushing the conversation forward. As anticipation grows, the question hanging over everything is simple. If new footage eventually surfaces, how will the public react? And will figures like Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Oprah be ready for that response? Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. And as always, stay aware and stay tuned.